just navigating how to apply in the federal government. And so we are also working with some of the federal Asian American organizations, some of the organizations that are made up of Asian American federal employees to work, to help and to serve as mentors for some of these individuals who are finding it difficult navigating. Because I have to say, it's definitely not the easiest easiest path as far as going on USA jobs, and I think the federal government acknowledges that and understands that that is the case and is working to improve that.
Now, you've been on since December 2009. Now, till to date, do you have any success stories?
There's one in particular, definitely stands out for me, but there's a whole host of things that are coming down the pipeline or that we've been able to put together as far as the structure. So let me talk about, I think, what is probably what folks have been hearing about, may not know as much from the perspective of the Asian American community, and that is that soon after the Gulf oil spill, as you know, was a disaster in the area, and there's a significant Asian American community in the Gulf, in particular Southeast Asian Americans, Vietnamese in particular, and many of them have been and have settled in the Gulf region since the 70s, and very similar to what they did back home, they're fishermen and they work in the seafood industry, and completely obviously affected by the oil spill. And the challenge was that all the work that BP was doing and the federal government to help folks in the industry, there were challenges for the Vietnamese American, for our Asian American community to access these resources because of language barriers. So we spent almost a month in the region working with the federal government closely to make sure that this information was getting out to the community. And no doubt some of these challenges still exist. Of course, the language issues are still an issue, but people are also thinking about what next. If we can't get the industry back to where it was, what other employment opportunities are available? And so we continue to work with the agencies to support this community. We've spent quite a bit of time this first year. I must say it's very similar to when I was working in a nonprofit about setting up shop. So putting together our senior group of federal officials was particularly important to make sure that we had the support within the agencies, and they are working towards agency plans that will be announced very soon, as well as our commission, a wonderful commission of very dedicated members who are already hitting the ground. I often talk about they're kind of dragging us along because they're so energetic and feel very responsible for being accountable to the community. And a part of our community engagement overall of connecting to the community, making sure the federal government is more accessible through our agency roundtables and providing recommendations. The real work is inside the federal government, and it sometimes doesn't move as quickly as we would like it to, but there's these small minor successes and policy changes and things like that that get us excited, but aren't necessarily something to write home about. But at the end of the day, you may see the impact of what that means to be able to have those ongoing conversations and meetings to get to something that we think is important. And that's why, again, it's so critical to have the community be involved and to be able to provide us with their recommendations.
You're the executive director. What are some of the challenges you come across?
The initiative works across the entire federal government. So oftentimes there's a challenge of how to prioritize. There's all these various issues. They're completely equally important in a lot of ways. But it's always a challenge of where can you have the most impact and not spreading yourself so thin. And so we have asked the federal agencies, and we ask that of ourselves, of how we can focus. In addition, one thing that may be new to this audience, depending on how steeped folks are in the Asian American Pacific Islander politics, is the challenge of bringing together very diverse communities, the Asian American and the Pacific Islander community, which are very different. The Pacific Islander Native Hawaiian community sees themselves as indigenous to this country, Native people with very distinct issues, and we've brought them all under the White House initiative. And so I very early on made it a priority to make sure that this community was not lost in our effort as one of the smaller communities in the Asian American Pacific Islander community. And I know you can understand this as, and I think many Indian Americans can, of coming from India and realizing the role of minorities in society and how it is so important to be able to elevate all those voices.
Well, you're doing good work.
Thank you.
Keep doing it. I thank you very much for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate. Good luck to you. And again, shout out anytime.
Definitely. Thank you.